my name is Jason JROCK Houston. You guys are listening to Destroyer 40. Tonight, our special guest is lead singer Jason McMaster. You guys may know him from the bands Dangerous Toys, Broken Teeth, and Igniter. How you doing tonight, Jason?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Now, of course, I thought you'd be the perfect guy to interview for this because I know what a Kiss fan you are. So much to the point. A couple of years ago, you had a Kiss tribute. Is that not correct, Jason?
Well, I dabbled with it from as early as '91 up into the 2000s, and then revisited a couple of times. I had a band called Sick, which is just Kiss backwards.
Yeah, did you guys actually get dressed up in the makeup, or did you just play the songs?
We had a 5-piece group where I shared all the vocals with a lead singer. I played bass, and it was 2 guitars and drums, and we played, almost all of Kiss Alive, and then we dabbled in some deep cuts. We never did Rock and Roll All Night. We always did kind of like the odd song, like Almost Human and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun, but no, we didn't do any makeup. We didn't wear any costumes. It was all about the cool, weird songs. We played Strange Ways and stuff like that.
Okay, and what was the response?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was kind of like the anti-Kiss. You know what I mean? It was like the songs at the time that Kiss
wouldn't play.
Weren't really playing live, right? So.
And what kind of response did you get from the Kiss fans?
Say that again?
What kind of response did you get from the Kiss fans when you were doing that?
Well, we did it around Texas and mainly, of course, in Austin. And, the ones that knew what we were trying to do were loyal. And, and then there was people that were kind of just dumb to it and thought we were a good band and would come see us play all the time. But they didn't realize until much later on, after they'd seen us 2 or 3 times, that we were actually playing Kiss material. They thought we were, we'd play a couple of Kiss songs, but then we were playing all this other stuff that they didn't even know was Kiss.
Wow.
Since we didn't wear costumes and we were a 5-piece, it even confused them even more.
That shows what it does.
It just went on to prove our point that, without the makeup and costumes, there's like this really kick-ass material that no one would realize was Kiss.
Well, that just goes to show, what a diehard fan you are, because there are people like you that, they really love to hear those, obscure songs, those rare, those deep cuts, and a lot, the band themselves don't play too many of those tunes. So I think it's great that you were doing that now. Could you go back in time, Jason, and share with us how you first became a Kiss fan?
Yeah, I had older brothers, and unfortunately, they weren't the ones that. I loved their record collections. They would go to school. I would sneak up in their room and listen to their records, but they didn't have any Kiss albums.
Oh, okay.
So it was my neighborhood friends who had older brothers who actually had Kiss records, and I would go over to their house, and they would be like, "Hey, have you heard this before?" And they'd play something, and one day they played Kiss, and it blew my mind, and the whole old story about the the record cover and the gatefold and just all of the attitude that they had, and it was like comic books meets rock and roll, and when you're young and impressionable, that's.
And how much did the look have to do with attracting you to becoming a Kiss fan? Would you say you heard the music first, or that the look had just as much to do with it as the music for you?
Oh, I think it was simultaneous. I think the record was on, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Let me see that album cover." It was just pretty much happened just like that.
Yeah, because of course.
And it was pretty much the whole package, but I would say I thought that the costumes and makeup and the fact that these guys would get up and do a whole show dressed like that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, because
live photos that you would see in magazines, Hit Parade or Circus, all that stuff.
Of course, everybody knows what Kiss looks like.
Were having a lot of fun.
Everybody knows what Kiss looks like these days, but people forget back in the day. I mean, they had such a mystique about them. I mean, nobody knew what Paul Stanley or Gene looked like under that makeup. I mean, a lot of people, I dare say, oh, they, like you said, oh, these guys are monsters, they're superheroes, they're out of this world. And just think about being a kid for a minute and coming across them and it looks like you're like, wow, what is this?
Well, I think even at a fairly young age, it was easy to figure out that they were just four guys wearing, kind of clown makeup. I mean, the clowns I knew that the clowns at the circus were not these freakish,
people,
escape from the loony bin, kind of crazy people who, I knew that they were just people in costumes, having fun doing slapstick. And this was very similar. That sure there was something mysterious because it's closer to kabuki. Japanese lore or something where they're dressed up as theater characters playing rock and roll. And that's where the comic book thing comes in. The superhero thing is very Japanese. They've had superheroes and Godzilla and stuff the whole time. And that's a guy in a suit too.
It's amazing,
There's something really, really cool about forgetting this normal human being and becoming something. I think it's why a lot of people like Halloween, and it's probably why a lot of people like acting and creating art. Because it's an escape a bit. Even though it's a journey into reality at some points too. You're getting to know someone's true self by looking at their art and what they would actually do to express themselves.
And let me ask you, how much of a influence did Kiss have on you as far as what you're doing today? I mean, because again, we named all these bands that you're in, but probably if you're off to yourself, probably you're known mostly as Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys, and Dangerous Toys is kind of sounds nothing like Kiss, but would being a Kiss fan, I guess what I'm asking, have that huge of an influence on you becoming a singer yourself?
Well, I grew up on Elton. First it was Elton John and Queen.
Yeah.
And and then, a few years later it was Kiss, but I didn't know anything about, playing music or actually have that, bit by that drug that, would draw me into that mindset thinking, wow, I want to play rock and roll. I want to get a guitar and, do that until I heard Kiss and, just started reading rock and roll magazines.
One thing I always loved about Kiss.
I got a bass guitar first, and my parents knew that, my brothers knew, everyone in my family knew that I was obsessed with Kiss, but it was actually my older brother and my mother who chipped in and got me a pawn shop bass guitar, and I started teaching myself how to play. And it wasn't necessarily Kiss records that I was
playing,
literally putting on and trying to learn how to play. It was Black Sabbath, AC/DC, and Judas Priest, and Rush, and UFO, and Triumph, and it was just, all the things, the 70s rock that was kind of proto-heavy metal, forefathers of heavy metal.
Oh yeah, Triumph.
Another one of those.
Triumph, that's a name I haven't heard in years, but man, those guys were legendary back in the day.
So, that was kind of how all of that started.
And I'm assuming...
First Kiss album I ever got was Hotter Than Hell.
Oh, wow. Now that's interesting, because Hotter Than Hell is... it's a little... it's got a little bit of everything. I mean, I love everything on that album. I mean, from Mainline to All the Way. There's great, deep cuts on that album, like you were saying, Strange Ways.
Yeah, the title track alone probably lifted the record, but I think they got to choose, and I think the songs that they play on Kiss Alive are chosen very well. Strange Ways is a little bit darker and slower, and Mainline, I'm not, I like Coming Home and Mainline and stuff like that, but those are the definite deep cuts.
Yeah. And interesting about Strange Ways is that that's a song that's actually, even though it's sung by Peter Criss, it's a song that was written by Ace.
Correct.
Just like Parasite, that's the people think that's a Gene song, but that's actually An Ace song.
It's an Ace Frehley song.
And the reason Gene is singing it, Ace did not feel comfortable in his ability to sing back in the day as he is now. But
just like God of Thunder is not written by Gene.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Do you have a Kiss box set? I was curious if you ever had a chance to hear the Paul version of him doing the lead vocal on that.
I think I heard that years ago, and it completely confirms that it's definitely a Gene-driven song.
Yeah, well, getting into it's interesting. Getting into a little more detail about that. What I've heard about that is, like we said, that was originally written by Paul, and it was Bob Ezrin who told him, that sounds like a Gene song, and Ezrin kind of put his little sound effects to it, and Gene did his thing on it, and it really personified Gene's character, because he later became known as the God of Thunder. Yeah.
Among other things.
Yeah.
But, I think that there's some amazing songs in the mid to late '70s by Kiss that defined the entire band, and definitely Destroyer has those songs on. I think, Destroyer as well as Rock and Roll Over. I think Rock and Roll Over has some things that probably could have even been on Destroyer untouched.
Yeah, I mean
Mr. Speed. I think Mr. Speed could have been on Destroyer.
I always loved that song, Mr. Speed. I don't know why it wasn't more of a hit.
I think Love 'Em Leave 'Em. I think Love 'Em Leave 'Em could have been on Destroyer. There's some great moments, and they were at the top of their game in '76, between '76 and '78. I think that there is some just crazy. I mean, I could put together a greatest hits mixtape, if you will. It wouldn't be a bad song on it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, let me ask, you're talking earlier about when you first were learning music, you first started out on the bass. I'm assuming that's because, would you say Gene was your favorite character of the band, or the one you identified the most with?
Definitely. I feel like he was having a lot of the fun. I think that Paul Stanley was a great front man, but even though Gene was singing as well, and fronting as well, I think that there was something darker and weirder about him, just because of the sort of kabuki style, the bat makeup. There was a kind of bat wing eyes, and I was an Alice Cooper fan too, so that kind of led me to Gene. I think Paul had this other thing going that I didn't really know anything about yet. And what I'm talking about is I'm talking about girls.
Yeah.
He was kind of shooting for another audience almost. And I think Gene was this like weird lizard man, and there was something different going on. I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was reading, interesting enough, in Gene's book, that early on, he started sticking his tongue out, just like as a thing when they were doing photo shoots and stuff. And Paul Stanley eventually told him, "Hey man, what are you doing? You're getting they're taking all the pictures of you because you're sticking your tongue out." And he's like, "Well, hey man, you gotta figure something out. That's what I'm doing. You got to make them come to you." And I guess early on, Paul was kind of people think of him today as this iconic frontman, but I guess he was really shy, and that's why, even to the point that when they really started getting their show together, they were asking, "Okay, who wants to breathe the fire?" He's like, "Nobody wants to do it. I'll do it." And if you think about it, that's one of the key points when you go to a Kiss concert, see Gene Simmons spit the blood and breathe the fire. I mean, that's just taking it to the next level,
Yeah, well, also it takes it Barnum and Bailey's, it's like the greatest show on earth. They might as well bring some of that in, and I think that they definitely did. They did the right thing. They were already kind of clowning around by wearing those costumes, and the thing is wearing all of that stuff and performing and singing while you're wearing all that stuff. It's not easy to do.
And then when you consider,
it's not easy to do.
When you consider that they would put on a great 2-hour show, and they were able to keep that makeup on their face without even coming off. They went the extra mile to learn. Okay, this is how you got to put the makeup on. This is how you got to apply. This is what we got to do so it doesn't sweat off during the performance. But it's just amazing because Kiss is so over the top. Like you said, it's a circus. It's it's just taking it to the next level. It's like almost a religion.
Yeah, I think completely admirable, and I think that there's a lot of haters out there. That it's just, I have this theory that if something is speaking to you, you should answer back and let it in.
I mean, that's
not just follow a trend just because your next door neighbor bought a Kiss record or an AC/DC record. That means you need to like those so that person will be your friend.
I mean,
I think that there's something different about Kiss, enough so that you should probably, if you hear a Kiss song and you see Kiss and you start listening to it and something happens to you, if your heartbeat races, if you start to have wild things happen in your mind, like, whoa, this is freaking me out. What is this? Let go, man. You gotta feel free. You gotta take it all in and let it. It's just like when you hear anything that it's like it's talking to you.
I mean,
to you.
I mean,
it's your language.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Any kind of rock and roll, any music, any kind of music, any artwork. It's like, why does someone like what they like? I feel like it's a language, a universal language that not everybody is going to understand. And I think that Kiss is part of that language I'm talking about, and it's not for everybody.
No, I mean,
some people are going to dive right in and set themselves on fire and sacrifice their whole life to it, and that's kind of what rock and roll is supposed to be about. And if you don't get Kiss and you like all the other stuff, Van Halen and Queen and AC/DC, there was something else that you didn't like, and that was, I bet you don't like clowns at the circus either, or there was something weird that freaked you out that was not right with you that maybe a psychiatrist could take care of.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the power of the Kiss Army. I mean, it's all these Kiss fans getting together and celebrating Kiss. I mean, we're talking about Kiss and Destroyer specifically 40 years after the album was released, and there's something to be said for that, because people are always trashing on Kiss and their musicianship, but this is an album that has been around for 40 years. A huge part of the Kiss set list are those songs. Those are the songs that are still being played on the radio 40 years later. Say what you will about Kiss, but they've sold more records than the Beatles. Not taking anything away from the Beatles, but there's something to be said for that,
Well, they've got more records out than the Beatles.
Well, I've heard they got like more gold records or something, but again, that's quite a feat when you consider that that's the band they grew up on.
I feel like that's something that Gene and Paul can just say in interviews. That's actually
a soundbite,
maybe a little factoid.
Uh-huh.
The Beatles weren't together very long. When you look at the
so true. Yeah.
Versus the ratio of releases, that's not a fair shake.
Yeah.
I can say I've sold more records than all of the bands that play downtown in Austin, Texas.
Wow. You really give me something to think about there.
But you understand what I'm trying to tell you right now, right?
That's one thing I really enjoy talking to different people about as part of this Destroyer 40 special, because you really gave me something to think about that. I never really thought about that, but yeah, you're so accurate on that. Now, I was curious, as a Kiss fan, like you say, probably the first thing you got into was Kiss Alive. Now, from going from Kiss Alive to Destroyer, what did you think when you heard the album for the first time? I mean, it was kind of I understand a lot of people kind of had a backlash. You're like, oh, it's too commercial, it's too poppy. What were your thoughts when you first heard it?
No, it totally took me on a journey. I feel like some of the heavier songs, I think Detroit Rock City is a masterpiece.
Oh, yeah,
I think God of Thunder is a masterpiece. What I love about, now that I play music, what I love about Detroit Rock City is the form of the song, not the map of the song, the version they would do live, I think is amazing. I think that, the key that they play it in was different for them. The root
Yeah.
Detroit Rock City. But that's not even the point. The point is that's a grandiose moment for the band.
Yeah.
It could be the greatest song that they've ever written. And I don't know why I'm saying that, other than when I listen to it, it's like, this is a perfect song. It's got a great sort of angry teenager vibe. Some of the story might even be true, lyrically.
Yeah.
I think that, in the rest of the record, I think the lore and the story of Peter Criss and Stan Penridge writing Beth together, and Gene and Paul thinking it's a throwaway. They spent the money on the Philharmonic playing the song, and Peter Criss even sings kind of flat in it.
Yeah.
I love Peter Criss's voice. I wish he would have sang more, but he really doesn't have the material that Paul or Gene in that order would have. He never did. And so for Beth to be the only #1 song
There's something to be said there.
that Kiss ever had, and the fact that Gene and Paul had nothing to do with it and thought it was a throwaway, is very interesting Kiss lore and factoid.
Yeah, well, in research for this, another thing I learned was originally they released Detroit Rock City as the single, and it didn't really sell that well outside of Detroit. But then when they started playing Beth on the radio, they re-released it with Beth on the A side. It was a much bigger hit, which is which is kind of interesting.
Right. Well, that's when they were doing 45s.
Yeah.
Like 7 inches, right? And I know they released God of Thunder as a B-side on something too, and I can't remember what that was at the moment.
Okay.
But I think I have a 7-inch of God of Thunder. I can't remember what the other side was.
Wow, that's
A or B, whatever.
And let me give you another bit of trivia here. Were you aware that it was not Ace Frehley that played guitar in Beth, but this guy Dick Wagner from the Alice Cooper Band?
Yeah, he played the solos on a few songs. Sweet Pain, I think. I think Rick Derringer played some solos on that record. Beth doesn't have a guitar solo on it.
It was like acoustic in there, acoustic guitar or something. Yeah.
That doesn't shock me. Dick Wagner played on. I think he may have even played on King of the Nighttime World.
And I think years later he played on the Revenge album in 1992, because again that was an album that Ezrin produced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I actually got to write some material with Dick Wagner.
Oh, what was that like?
And it was amazing. He is very sort of animated and orchestral in the way of his writing. Very flamboyant in the way that he would write. Like he would almost like his arms would dance, like he was directing an orchestra when he was sort of getting the feel of the song to sort of go around the room. It was actually with Dangerous Toys. Short story, would be we never used any of the songs because it just didn't really fit the vibe of the band. But it made for a good story that Dick Wagner would come down and actually hang with us for a couple of days and work on some riffs that we had and some parts and help us put some things together. And it was really cool.
And how did that come about?
Well, it was after Hellacious Acres, and the label and management were putting their heads together trying to come up with, what if they can't write something that's, radio friendly or whatever version of that you want to call, whatever words were used. And, we never really worried about that. We just tried to write fun rock and roll songs. So if they're sending it, we also wrote some songs with Randy Bachman.
Wow.
BTO and the Guess Who. And those songs were a little bit better, I have to admit. But once again, we never used those songs.
Now let me ask you
we just felt... go ahead.
I was going to ask you, in today's age of internet and everything, any chance that you would ever consider putting those out as a collection of unreleased Dangerous Toys demos, or you wouldn't even consider it?
No, because they're just not as good as they weren't up. I feel that the band was writing as good or better material than what we came up with those guys in those few days.
Yeah. And
It really just made for good war stories, man.
Yeah.
They didn't really add up to much of anything else. I mean, it was amazing at some point, but at the end of the day, when we said, I mean, shit, dude, I could probably press play now and it would blow my mind, but I'd have to dig, you know?
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier being an Alice Cooper fan. So, what was it? I mean, what was it like? Being an Alice fan, having the guy that actually played guitar in his band at one point. That had to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy stuff. Dick Wagner's son lives in. His name's Rob. He lives in Austin, here, where I live. And he sings and plays guitar in bands around here. He's a great guy, great musician. Dick Wagner passed away a few years ago.
Yeah. Sadly enough, but he definitely lived the life.
A friend of mine has a gift from Rob Wagner that used to belong to his dad, and it's an I Never Cry gold 7-inch.
Wow.
Yeah, talk about lore. That's amazing. So, little things. I think that his work on the Destroyer record made all the difference because Ace Frehley was getting fucked up.
Yeah. And it is what it is, but you can't really argue with the album. Like I said, it remains 40 years later. It remains a mainstay. I mean, people still listening to it. That's half of the Kiss set list or the songs off of that album.
Well, King of the Nighttime World, written by Kim Fowley.
Yeah. Runaways manager. Yeah. Well.
He wrote. I think he wrote Cherry Bomb for them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think so. And he recently passed away a couple of years ago too.
Yes, he did. He called me during that same bout that the Toys were writing with outside people. He called me, but he was very strange. Not to speak ill of him, but he was very strange, and I got this very strange vibe off of him.
Yeah.
It never manifested any kind of him coming to Texas to write with us, but
yeah.
Talking to him on the phone is once again just another war story at this point.
Yeah.
But he wrote something else. He wrote "Do You Love Me." He wrote "Do You Love Me" and "King of the Nighttime."
Wow, yeah. Well, yeah. Do You Love Me? That's one of my all-time favorites. I mean, it's just like it's the ultimate Paul Stanley song. But I just always love that song.
There's something about those old records and Destroyer being right up there is like I can remember the smell of the room I was in when I was listening to that record on vinyl.
Yeah. And
when I think about it, I'm just like, wow, it's like a dream state or a window in time. Like those songs are old friends that'll never forget me, and I'll never forget them.
Yeah.
Anytime I run into them, it's like the last 35, 40 years never existed. It's like the album is brand new every time I hear it.
Yeah.
The smell and just the feeling I got after hearing it and things like that. It's pretty amazing. I probably sound like an old freak when I say that, but I'm dead serious, man.
Yeah.
It's like that with Queen records and Elton John records and Willie Nelson records and stuff like that. Things that you get into when you're impressionable, they're like old friends. They're windows in time. They never go away.
Oh yeah. Like you, I often find myself going back to a lot of these old records that I grew up on, like Destroyer and that, because there's not too many great new bands these days that really stand out. Even a lot of 80 bands that were back from like your time when Dangerous Toys was really big. There's not a lot of great bands like that these days. They're far and then few in between.
Well, it's a different world. A lot of people, younger people mainly, just expect entertainment to be free on their phone, on their device. They want songs to be free. They get upset when it's not free. They don't understand that that's actually somebody's intellectual property.
Yeah.
And they feed their kids with the money made by sales of those songs and those records. And it's business. They write songs. They're creative people making music to sell, and selling it is not the important part. The important part is that they're being creative. It's like it's like painting. If you're an artist and you paint paintings and you sell those and that's how you live. You're not painting it so you can sell it and live.
Although that would be nice, yeah. But yeah.
Let me finish. You're painting it so you can live.
Yeah.
Forget the selling part. You have to sell it to live, to eat, to things that have to do with the word live. But think about what I'm saying right now when I say you're painting or you're performing or you're writing songs or you're singing or you're playing guitar so you can live.
Yeah, I mean,
the money part out of it. That's how you live. The word livelihood.
Yeah.
That is how you live. You live playing guitar, singing, painting, creating something. Selling it is like an afterthought.
Yeah.
That's the idea. That's what you do. It's like, so if someone's going, he sells out. Well, what else am I going to do? Stay in the garage and just write a song for the mirror?
Yeah.
Look in the mirror and write a song. What good is that? I want to sell. I want people to understand how my expression. And so, in a way, performance art. If someone paid to get in to see you swallow a sword, it's the same thing.
Well,
selling out,
no,
it's the same thing. They're paying to hear your song. They're paying to see you play. They're paying to see your painting in their living room.
Yeah. Even today, what you're doing, you're living proof of that. I mean, like I said, a lot of people know you from Dangerous Toys. That's probably the thing you're known most for. But what I got a huge amount of respect for you about is you're not just living off of Dangerous Toys. You got all these other projects. You're always being creative, and you got.
I can't live off of Dangerous Toys.
Yeah, I mean.
I can live in a cardboard box off of Dangerous Toys.
Yeah.
I can't live off of Dangerous Toys.
And I respect the fact though that you're not living off of it. I mean, that you're still proud that you were part of that, and you're kind of celebrating what it was, and you continue to play the music, but you got all these other bands, and you're continuing to create new music. And anybody that's a J.C. McMaster fan, like I've discussed with you before, it's a great thing. Is man, this guy's in 3-4 different bands at a time. It's great. He's always putting something new out. And now, last time I talked to you about a month ago, you're telling me that you're in this band Igniter, and you've been working on a new album. Do you guys have a release date yet, or are you still recording it?
No, we're still writing, and I'm writing with my band Evil United. We're still writing our third record, and Broken Teeth is actually recording, and Broken Teeth is actually, if it were a race, Broken Teeth is winning, but it's not a race, and who knows what'll happen, but Broken Teeth has 10 songs in the can, and I've got a few vocals for them, and we're just kind of going at our own pace. And it's been going really well, but we released a record called Bulldozer in October. I mean, that's not that old.
No.
So it's like 5 months. So it's fresh. Broken Teeth is kind of fresh still.
Yeah.
But Igniter, Evil United are also writing and in the studio as we speak.
Okay.
And, Dangerous Toys is playing some shows here and there, milking the crap out of the first couple records.
Now, like I said, I know you guys play a lot in Texas, and you've done the Monsters of Rock cruise, and you do these bigger festivals. But you guys last year played the Cat House Live, which was the first time you played LA in quite a while. Would you guys ever consider coming back here again, or would it have to be for a big show like that?
Anytime.
Yeah, that would be great.
As long as we can afford to get home and still have money left over.
Yeah, and Broken Teeth, that's another band I always loved. You guys got a great AC/DC vibe going. So I want to ask you, knowing that you're such a AC/DC fan too, what do you think of the current situation with AC/DC? Do you think they should get a new singer? Do you think they should just call it a day? What are your thoughts?
Well, I have some mixed feelings. I think that if Angus and Cliff and the members who are actually true members of the band, I think that there's something to those guys actually not wanting to call it quits. That actually could say, hey man, we got a couple more records left in us. We have a few more tours left in us. This is a legendary band, and I feel good about this. It's unfortunate what's happening to Brian.
Yeah, I just got to put it out there and ask you, because I always thought,
We all get older. We're all getting older. Brian Johnson's only got about 20 years on me.
Yeah. Wow.
He's got about 18 years on me, I guess. And you start losing your hearing. You start losing your lunch. You start, things start happening to your plumbing. You can't stop what's coming, man. You can work out and take vitamins all you want, but your whole body wears out after a while, and things like that, especially with rock and roll.
Yeah.
And so so you got to take care of yourself. You got to do the best you can. Being some elder statesman playing rock and roll these days, I think it's amazing that I'll just put it on Angus, that Angus wants to keep going.
Yeah.
Because that's the word that I heard, that Angus really wants to keep going. I think that it's fair.
Yeah.
If one or more of those guys wants to keep going, especially Angus.
It's his band,
man.
Yeah.
Fucking go.
Yeah.
But you're gonna take some criticism if you just change your socks. You know what I mean? If you change your singer, if you change hats a little bit, might be weird. I mean, what if Angus just came out not wearing the schoolboy?
Yeah. And what are you?
You know what I mean? It's like it might be. It's gonna feel weird with a new singer just all of a sudden, but AC/DC wasn't truly a household name until Back in Black.
Yeah.
I mean, Highway to Hell was trending, but by those days, by 78, 79 standards.
And when you stop and think too that and then immediately following Highway to Hell, Bon Scott dies, and everybody's like not knowing what's going to happen to the band, and then they've been able to carry on with Brian all these years. It's just kind of sad that it's come to this. What are your thoughts on? There's been talk that they may get Axl Rose to do these last 10 shows on their tour.
I don't really have a problem with whoever they decide is going to be able to do the job. The good things about Axl are things like this. I might be able to only count them on one hand. I don't really have a lot of desire to even imagine what it would ultimately be in a show situation. I think that it could be a train wreck, and that would sell a ticket, or it could be really kick-ass, and that could sell a ticket. I could go either way on that. I really think the good things about Axl for this job would be he's got the stamina, because he never stopped touring. He's got the stamina. He knows how to work the crowd a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Those are two things that are very vital. I think that if AC/DC were to get an unknown, if he wasn't calloused up and ready to go and could do a 2-hour show, 3, 4, 5 nights a week and finish out this tour over a period of a few weeks. I think that if they chose a guy because they just liked him and he wasn't able to hang the first couple nights, that would be disastrous on their part. Chosen badly. If they did Axl, he has the stamina. Here's one thing that I worry about. Axl has a reputation of being a little bit of a hothead. You're going to argue with me about it? Okay, fine. I don't want to argue about it, but look at history. You'll understand.
And it kind of makes.
I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, Axl is a great singer.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you wonder, because he does that with his own band, but would he do that with when you're a guest performing somebody else's band? I don't know.
Well, let me put this spin on it real quick. Back to him, the possible someone boos him or sets him off in a way because he's fronting someone else's band.
Yeah.
And someone pisses him off on night 1, night 2, hour 2. In the 11th hour, it doesn't matter. Someone rubs him the wrong way, so an audience member. Someone upsets him, and he starts talking to the audience the way that I've seen him talk to the audience before.
Wow. I really hope
he gets long-winded. He talks too much.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't come to that.
If he starts digging into that and starts telling an AC/DC audience, fuck off, I'll security, I'm going to kill you, blah, 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 all, whatever hothead bullshit. I'm not putting words in Axl's mouth.
All this stuff that's happened.
These are things that he has put in his mouth, right?
Yeah.
I would worry about situations like that. But on a lighter note, I really think that he could do the job. He would just have to be really careful.
Yeah.
To be smiles and happy, because man, Brian Johnson, when I see him with AC/DC, he's a happy guy.
Yeah. And now let me ask you, talking about Brian's hearing loss. After all these years of performing, have you ever suffered any hearing loss, or do you do stuff to protect yourself when you're performing?
I wear earplugs in rehearsals. Sometimes I wear them live when the monitor situation is bad.
Yeah.
I started wearing them in the early '90s a little bit, and then all the time. I don't wear them as often as I should.
Yeah, I hear you. Who does? Yeah.
But I don't use any in-ear monitors.
Okay.
And I think that I don't think that there's any real reason why he's losing his hearing other than I think that he's elderly.
Yeah, well, the story they put out there was supposedly he didn't lose it from performing live. He lost his hearing from racing cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's legit.
Yeah.
And I think I read that, but that's extracurriculum.
Yeah.
I mean? That's something that's just got to happen anyway. He could be losing his hearing for some other reasons too.
Who knows? Yeah. And then
legitimately, the problem is whatever the problem is.
Yeah.
I think that AC/DC is at their best when they have. It's too bad Malcolm's not there.
Yeah.
There's been some upset.
Yeah.
No Phil Rudd. There's other reasons why. It's kind of a little bit of a kind of self-absorbed.
Yeah.
Not go, well, no Malcolm, no Phil,
Yeah.
now no Brian.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is this going to turn into?
Yeah.
Might be time to take it home.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
We'll see.
You know what?
And the reason I brought all this up, because when it was initially announced that Brian was going to probably have to leave the band, I got to be honest, Jason, you were one of the first names I thought, I could see, Jason McMaster kind of filling those shoes. Now, if you were ever asked, is that something you would even consider doing, or would you feel the shoes were too big to fill?
Well, if there's any band I would ever want to sing for, even if it was just one show,
Yeah.
it would probably be AC/DC or Judas Priest.
Yeah. Because I definitely think you got the pipes.
Or even Kiss.
Yeah.
Or even Kiss.
Yeah.
But those gigantic bands, where the songs are ingrained in rock and roll society's heads forever and ever and ever, they are branded into the earth.
Yeah, because as far as AC/DC,
if I could help the world continue the show somehow by using my vocal talent, by all means, I would stop my world in order to do it. No problem.
I would love that, because I definitely think you got the pipes and you could do it. I mean, anybody that's, like I said, listen to a Broken Teeth record, it's got a really strong AC/DC vibe. You could definitely do it. But and I will say this, getting back to Kiss for a minute, people are always trashing that they're not the world's most technical, greatest musicians. But I'll tell you what they are. They are great songwriters. That's why we're talking about an album, Destroyer specifically. 40 years after it was released, these songs are still being played in concerts. These songs are still being played on the radio. There's a reason for that, because these guys can write the hits. They can write great tunes, and that's what it's all about. That's any band you see that's had any kind of success, it's because of his songwriting.
Definitely.
Yeah. And well, I'd like to thank you once again, Jason, for being part of Destroyer 40 and giving me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. It's been, as always, I've enjoyed talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you down the line. The interviews for this Destroyer 40 special may be going up probably sometime between April or May. I'll let you know once they get posted. But thanks so much for being part of us. I really enjoyed talking to you.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Okay, you take care, my friend, and I'll be in touch with you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
All right, sounds good.